So Rosamond, we're doing the one-to-one, the weekly one-to-one. And those people who are watching this video, I would encourage you to join my channel. Not just subscribe, join. It's only £1.99 a month. And you get other videos that are not for wider viewing. Other than that, that's my advert for today. Oh, by the way, adverts. Yeah, good. See, they put the adverts in YouTube. Job done. Right. Anyway, so what we're doing, Rosamond, we're doing one-to-one with the wonderful, eminent archaeologist Karl-JAMES Langford, University of Highlands and Islands, and Leicester University and life. And what we're going to do, we're going to have a little thing about the archaeology in Ireland, a little sort of tiny bit, right? And it's sort of an archaeology of Ireland from a load of images I put together and put into a video a while ago. And we're just doing a one-to-one on it. So that's what we're doing. So, describe what you can see.
An old house showing the varying stages of construction. Thatch.
But when is this old house from?
Oh, I've got no idea. I'd say it's very old because it's all sticks and hay by the look of it.
Well, rather interesting this, because this is a Viking house based on proper archaeological evidence from Dublin itself.
Oh, fab. I
So-
like Dublin.
Yeah, when you think about Ireland, you think about Christianity, and you think about Newgrange burial chamber, and you think about the Vikings. So
Oh,
just put a few just little bits of slide put together for anyone sort of interested in Ireland, just to sort of get a little bit of a taste. That's all we're doing, just a bit of a taste. So this is actually based on the archaeological evidence, and actually, lots of what you do see reconstructed is actually based on material that was found on the archaeological site, like the uprights and the wicker framework around the upright timbers being placed into the ground post holes. So anyway, so if you're looking at this and you're thinking, how does this exactly work? So if we sort of do the annotation bar, check that in there. So
leprechauns. That's what you think of with Ireland as well.
I'm not doing leprechauns.
No,
No, I'm not. So what you see upright timbers as we're drawing on the screen there, right? And you've got all these upright timbers, and then between them, you'd have these. It looks like there's an arrangement of upright timbers, but usually what you do, you have a little frame between the two, right? And then you would have wattles between them, woven in like this, sort of woven all in, right? All wattles woven in. And then what you do is you put daub on the outside.
Daub. Ah, you see, now that's what I should have said.
Now
Daub.
the interesting thing about daub, right, is that we've got daub itself is basically shit and clay, right? Now, as shit and clay and straw breaks down, right, and it all just basically goes to mud. If, for example, the building's set alight, the daub is basically baked into like a into ceramic, basically. Well, not really. It's only like heated at about 450 degrees centigrade or something like that. But it's still hot enough to actually for the daub itself to be preserved. So sometimes on archaeological sites you find bits of baked clay, and that's what it is. So what we do have with the evidence from Dublin and other places in Ireland for Viking, usually with County Wexford. So that's what we're talking about, and Dublin. Anyway, what we do see is if you're looking for archaeological evidence, you're going to find their cesspits, the cess, which is all their human waste and animal waste and bits of everything. And you might find bits of broken pottery, the metalworking, bits of bone. It might be carbonized. Or the bone itself might be well preserved. Wood itself, carbonized, well preserved. The daub, lots of things can be preserved. Yeah?
Yes.
So again, the weirdly enough, if you want to talk about impacts on Ireland, if you want to compare like Ireland with like the British occupation, which has been going on since the Norman period, the British have probably been in Ireland for the best part of 950 years. Well, the Vikings weren't in Ireland for a massive length of time, but you know, you think about the Vikings when you go to Ireland. That's the thing. That's what we're talking about.
So how long were the Vikings roughly there?
Well, we know that the Vikings are sauntering about in regards to Ireland from about the 800s. They're sort of there into the 950s or somewhere like that, and into about the 1000s.
So about 200 years then.
Wandering around as sort of, yeah, their influence is going back and forth, but it's likely, like much of this, the Vikings themselves, some of the Vikings would have actually settled there. So, you know, they weren't, they were expunged from the landscape of Ireland a number of times. You see.
Yeah.
So I'm getting problems moving the screen a minute. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go there.
I've got to be honest, I've never thought of the Vikings in Ireland.
Haven't you?
No. I don't know why.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have to come back out the screen a minute. Hang on, and we're just gonna have to go back in. I've got my my screen is frozen on the video. Strangely enough, it's frozen altogether. Hang on, what I got to do? I got to So whilst I got a bit of a lull a minute. Right, whilst I got a bit of a lull, what else would you associate with Ireland in regards to the archaeology? Whilst I'm getting this thing back up.
I don't know. I'm thinking of Saint Patrick for some reason because he's somebody that comes to mind.
Have you ever come across the New Grange burial chamber? It's absolutely huge.
Oh, I've heard of it, yes, but I've not been there.
Now that's a spectacular sight. The other thing as well is when we think about Ireland, it's like that idea. Did the Romans actually ever get to Ireland? You know?
Did they?
Well, that's the big debate. Because one thing that we do find with Ireland, we find burials in Ireland with lots of Roman material on the east coast, and we're thinking, well, why is that? We haven't actually found any villas out there, and there was an idea that in the 80s AD, only 40 years after the Romans invaded England and Wales, and there's talk that there was talk of them planning an invasion of Ireland. We don't know if it took place or not. The evidence is sort of to the contrary, but we don't.
So who were the natives there then at that time? Celts.
You know, I don't like that word.
Oh, don't you?
No, I don't like the word Celts. It sounds like a football team.
So who?
I always refer to them as the native Britons.
Native Britons.
Rather than giving them a title, yeah.
Britons, Britons, not Britains.
Well, I don't think there's a right or wrong with that, to be honest.
How you spell it?
Do you know the file that we were looking at? I'm actually getting trouble trying to get it back up on the screen. So keep talking a minute.
Well, I suppose I've always been more about more recent history in Ireland.
Have you actually ever been over to Ireland?
Yes, I've been to Dublin.
Right.
And I've also caught the ferry over from Fishguard to Rosslare, then got the train up through the countryside to Dublin. So that was the first time I went with Gaynor. We went on the train and then Rosslare and Wexford all the way up to Dublin, then came back down and stopped off at a place called Cortown, which was a little seaside town, a little bit like Tenby, but a lot nicer, dare I say it. But there's a lot of you walk along the shoreline and you've got the well, the to St Mary along there, yeah. So I suppose there's Christianity tied up in Ireland, isn't there?
Right, that's the other thing we didn't mention, Christianity.
So that's a nice place to visit, Cortown. Um,
What did you call it again? Cortown.
Cortown, C-O-R. It's a nice little tide resort. Small.
Do you know, I've never come across that.
Well, we sort of just stumbled upon it because I think we got off the train. Oh, I know what it was. We got on the train at Dublin and we said to the guard, where should we stop? Because we were just sort of backpacking, if you like. Where should we go? And he said, go and stay at Cortown.
Cortown.
Here it is. Province, Leinster. Excuse my pronunciation.
Leinster.
Leinster, is it?
Leinster. Leinster.
Cortown.
Yeah.
Holiday rentals and homes, county.
Leinster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a nice little B&B.
Oh, right.
We had a nice walk along the beach, found the well, or you know, the what are they called? The along the coast, and you've got the shrine, is it? The shrine to St. Mary.
It's full of shrines. Right, I've actually managed to find the stuff. So we're back to where we were, Rosamond.
Oh, okay. Well, I recommend Cortown to anyone who's thinking of going to Ireland. Get the ferry over Fishguard Rosslare, then get the train up to Cortown. And then Dublin and back again. Very nice.
No, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned Christianity because when you think about Ireland, yeah, you do think about Christianity. That's the point I was trying to make earlier on. But you think of the Vikings, sort of the idea of the Vikings and Christianity together, because it's the idea of some historians that the reasons why the Vikings were going to Ireland was because there were lots of Christian monasteries, and this idea of nicking some of the monks and the nuns for slaves and all those other things. And
oh, right, okay, yeah.
There's all that talk of that, right? But the other thing as well is, but they actually settled there in Dublin. They actually make Dublin the place of the black water, or the black city, Dublin. And then we think of brackish water, actually. But anyway, the thing is, well, actually, reminding myself of the exact meaning of Dublin. So there's nothing wrong with listening to the Dubliners, right? And working at Dublin. So I sort of said Dublin, blackish water, or it basically means Dublin. Hang on a minute. This obviously we've got the massive association, etymology, right? So I was right about that. Dublin, it says classical Irish means black or dark, right? And lind or lin means pool. So I said blackish water, or yeah, so I was on the mark. Darkish, blackish water. Dublin, yes. So the big tidal pool there, the river Poddle, Poddle. Right, so if we go back to that, and we've got this massive Viking association with it.
Okay, that's interesting.
And interesting, another chuckaway fact: Dublin itself has a massive proportion of the Irish population living.
Yes, it's a big city, isn't it?
Yeah, Dublin and Greater Dublin has close on 2 million people.
Wow.
If you want to look at the figures of people living in Ireland, that's quite a proportion of the population. Yeah, more people than live in Barry, or
yes.
Less people admit to living in Barry, so your population's a little bit bigger.
Baroque,
yes, exactly. Do you know what? We've gone off on a tangent again.
Yes.
But why not? Anyway, so archaeology of Ireland, right? So, and we've got to be really respectful to those wonderful Gaelic-speaking Irish.
The Gaelic, yes.
The Gaelic, yeah. I was I was listening to a radio thing a while ago, and it was something along the lines of that the Irish are getting really nationalistic about their history and archaeology.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, fair play, but at the risk of discluding other things.
Oh,
You know, it's like, you know, obviously we focus on the Irish stuff and not the Norman stuff and not the English stuff and so on. But that's naturally a big part of Irish history.
yeah, but that's good to sort of learn too, isn't it?
What about
You know, I'm glad that Stavros is learning the history of Wales in school.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah,
That's good to learn.
yeah, there is the yin and yang there. So what? Instead of getting rid of all the stuff taught about Normans, you do a balance. At this minute, it's 0 about the princes of Cumbria, right? And it's basically about the Norman stuff. So what you need to do is say, right, half of it has to be about the princes of Cumbria and the princesses and the kings and whatever, and then the other half can be about the Normans. So that's a good balance.
Yes, learning about the castles, the native castles and
Yes.
such like.
Yes. So always look out for when Dinas Powers is on sale next, Rosamond.
On sale, the castle.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be going up for sale soon, one day.
Mm.
Nobody wants to do anything with it, you see. So
Well, the owner's just hanging on to it for the land, I would say.
Yeah, but they can't do anything with it.
No, but just hanging on to it for the land, perhaps.
Get off my ready land. Right. So anyway, back to Dublin. So what we're looking at is the excavations in the sort of heart of Dublin, next door to the cathedral. You can see quite a large area for office blocks and so on, and you can see how deep the archaeology is.
Yes.
Now, and the archaeology is exceedingly well preserved. Down there where the cursor is, that's where all the houses are being built. That's where all the houses are. But you can actually see that it's about 4 or 5 meters that you've got to go through to actually get to this Irish stuff, and even more.
So that's going back to like 850 BC, is it?
80.
The other one,
80.
CE.
Yeah, CE. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, 1,100 years ago, Ireland, Dublin, was thriving with Vikings, basically. Now it's going to be Danish Vikings, but we've got Norwegian Vikings there as well, because some are coming from the south and others are coming from the north. So the Norwegian ones are coming via Scotland, and the Danish ones are coming via Cornwall and Wales.
Okay.
So whereas going to get the Norwegians on the west coast, you're going to get the Danish on the east coast, because Dublin's on the east coast. So there's the 2 different types of Vikings. However, the other point that should be made, you know, I mentioned earlier on about the Vikings in Ireland, and I mentioned about you know, there's these sort of rumours afoot that the Norwegian Vikings went to Ireland because they were after gold and slaves and all the rest of it. Well, the other thing as well is they couldn't have been that successful at killing people, because Ireland is predominantly, the DNA goes back quite a long way.
Yeah.
So let's up this for the Vikings. That the Vikings were using it for trade, and they were
very settled there.
Dublin was a massive trading centre, and what you're seeing again, what you're seeing then is thousands of people visiting the archaeological excavations at Dublin over different times. Now there's been a lot of archaeological excavations in Dublin. And they find a lot of Viking remains. You look at Dublin today. We just that was very relevant. The population is 1.9 million, rounded up to 2. but the population, the Viking population was in its fair few thousands, you know, so it was quite a sizable, and Dublin itself, it's going back to the name, is placed into the cities within the sort of confines of a boggy morass, and obviously the buildings are built on that boggy morass, and then there's little canals, and there's water access, and then gradually all the crap builds up, and then it becomes this. Yeah.
Yes.
Now look, that's what I was talking about. Instead of having individual panels, right, which I mentioned earlier on with the wattle and
Yes.
with the wattle panels and then the daub, right? This is actually a very similar principle, right? And the very very similar principles are that you have some structural supporting timbers. So if we draw them in, you might have, right, so you might have within there, inside the building, some structural support, so that would support the roof. And then you have these uprights here, birchwood or something like that, and then you can quite easily, nicely weave willow. And you're weaving it in amongst the uprights. And then when you run out of a length, you sort of continue it. So it's quite a sturdy structure. And then you put the roof on, and then you put the daub on the outside. You don't need to fire the daub because it dries out in the sun, and as long as you keep the daub from getting wet, it's quite a secure building.
Yeah. How would it have been? Fairly warm, waterproof?
Bloody hell, right? Well, actually, I would actually, this is not really, there's something wrong with this being a completely looking Viking type building. There's two reasons for that. The archaeological evidence tells us that these types of buildings have been found in Dublin, but the typical buildings when you look at Jorvik are plank built, made out of big planks.
Yeah.
Which could have actually come from the boats and stuff, but made out of planks. That's how they build in Norway. But obviously, you know, this is what the archaeological evidence tells us here with this reconstruction. But the other thing as well is, you know, the one thing, actually, Rosamond, there would have been a roof on this. We'd take that for granted. What's wrong about what you're seeing? I don't think I've given you a clue. What's wrong about what you're seeing? Other than
would it have had a doorway like that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
what's wrong with the doorway? Tell me, come on.
Well, A, it hasn't got a door, but
yeah, there would have been a door on it, but yeah, what's wrong with the doorway?
yeah. I don't know.
Well, you open the door and the heat goes straight out. So if you have a lintel that's lower, you see what I mean? If you
would
open
have kept
the
the
door,
heat in.
yeah, if you open the door or you've got a blanket or something in the doorway, the heat itself will only leave from the lower section, right? It will still be maintained in the upper section.
Yeah.
So heat rises, yeah? Heat rises. So the heat itself will still circulate within, right? So, but if you've got a doorway and the threshold is a lot taller, then all the heat is just going to go out the door.
Go out.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's where the myth of the little people comes from. The small doorways.
Probably little leprechauns, yes. Shallow doorways are a lot better than tall standing doorways.
Ah, that makes sense. Yes, it does.
I'm glad that makes sense. I'm glad you're pleased. But that's what the archaeological evidence tells us. The archaeological evidence that Jorvik, with the plank-built structures, is very different than these types of buildings. But the archaeological evidence tells us this is what they did.
So the west coast, the houses were plank built.
Yeah, no.
The east coast.
I was referring to York. That's a big difference.
Oh, York. Oh.
Yeah. What did you think? Oh, you thought I said Cork?
I thought you said the Norwegians were on the west coast and
I
they
had
climbed.
the Norwegians were in the west coast, and the Norwegians were in York. But
Ah,
I was specifically referring to York for the archaeological evidence of plank building, rather than
right.
this evidence that is these are different Vikings, so it's quite likely that being that they're different Vikings, they're going to be building a different way anyway. So that's the point. That's the
Yes.
point. But actually, do you know what I'm going to do? Right. Um, this is actually a really good way of building, right? And I'm actually going to take a note. I want to show Michelle this because if Michelle and I should ever obtain any property anywhere, then this could be a good experimental form of building.
Yes.
That works really good. Yeah. Anyway, so moving on again.
Well, that would be very tough on the hands as well, wouldn't it? All that weaving.
I it's not. I have actually I've been put under pressure and I've had to weave 32 panels.
Have you?
Um, and I
You
think
must be good at it then.
yeah, I am pretty. I am actually pretty good at making this stuff, but I know what type of wood to use, and it does it. I was actually taught when I was about 8, so that still
Oh, so that stayed with you.
yes stayed with me, and I learned that at Cosmeston Medieval Village when they were doing reconstruction work there.
Yes.
But mind you, the roof that I assisted building at Cosmeston collapsed.
Well, you live and learn.
Live and learn. Don't get Karl to build a bloody reconstructed roof. Right, this is look at that there. You can see that there. Yeah. So what you've got? You've got these uprights as we said with the building that we just seen. Yeah. So what you've got? Let's just put the uprights in there. So we've got the upright. So there's the height of the individual. So if we put the uprights to his height. Yeah. So we got them there. And we got that there. We got them there. We sort of keep going and there. And we got that there. We keep going. So in other words, what you would then do is that then you would sort of put a couple more in there. They don't need to be at regular intervals at all. So if we sort of get the old bit of weaving in there, so we sort of weave in, weave out, weave in, weave out, weave in, weave out, weave in, weave out, weave out. When you run out of a length, right? You get a batter and you batter it in. You get a bit of wood. So all it is a bit of wood.
Yeah.
We're gonna bang it in, right? And then you start on the next. But basically, it's better to probably have a group of people doing this, so you can get everything to the same level and you can bang it all in. And the
Well,
next,
that's how they would have built back in the day, isn't it? Well, there would have been, wouldn't have just been one person doing it, surely.
well, Tom would. Well, it would be me, you, and Tom, right? Me and you would have done the work, and Tom would have done the tea.
Yes, if we were lucky.
Tom, where you gone, Tom? He's gone. Oh, we sent him north and he went south. Sorry.
Well, he might be in Dublin as we speak. I don't know. Depends on time on the ferry.
What? Because he's a captain, is he?
He is the captain at the moment. Yes.
All right. Now, looking back at that, what you hang on, stop. Oh bloody hell! I was just going to show you something else. Right, on the floor levels, right? Those are basically the floor levels, right? These.
So what's that? Slabs of
No floor
stone,
levels.
wood.
These are just with the sort of floor levels.
So there would have been woodies on the floor.
Yes. That would have assisted the floor levels, and that there is a half.
So in the centre, that would have
Yes,
been.
and there's another half as well. And actually, inside there's divisions as well in some of the buildings because that's a division wall. That's a division wall. So they've got little compartments within the building.
Yeah.
So that in effect acts as a miniature. That bit. So if we want to get rid of all that, so we could sort of say that's the main hall area, and that's the fire, and then you've got a room there, and a room there, and a room there.
Right.
And if you look as well, there's a very, very narrow space between this building and that building, and it goes all the way down there.
Yeah. And that would have that kept heat as well then?
Um,
Or-
yes, it would have actually. Yeah, that would have. But you couldn't have been maintained the outside because you once they're built, they're built. And the reason why
Yeah.
it's all ucky and brown and horrible is because it's full of crap.
Yeah.
So what they've done when they've the way they used to build in the past, and they still do, you'd shawl it up. That's shawling, right? You'd wrap
Yes.
it into the ground, crunk, 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 crunk. That would create a polder dam, right? And then that's where your buildings would go, and that would be a barrier against the subsidence and water infiltration. There's, no,
Clever.
there's nothing wrong with a bit of infiltration.
No.
I used to do it every Wednesday. So yeah. So yeah. So carrying on. I've forgotten where I am now. Do you know where I am? Because I don't.
The
Right.
floor.
Floor. We did the floor. Yes. So come back to the floor. Now the next thing we're going to see, right? You know where you've got the wood here? It's actually still standing above level. But all these bits of wood. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if you go to the next image now coming up, and you go into there, what you see on the ground here, all you've got is the indications of post holes.
Right.
Those are indications of post holes.
So the posts have rotted away or burned or
Bingo. Well, there's what they've done with this one, because it's less damp here. There's not really preserving. What you can see is they've got slabbed flooring, and also
yeah.
there is indication that's burnt material, so there might have been a hearth there.
So you'd have had your slabs and then put the withies on top,
Well,
perhaps.
I think that would have been a good idea, because the slabs would. These people. The thing is, with Viking society, these people are used not to having solid floors. They're used to having very soft floors, because they live in a landscape full of trees.
Yes.
So whereas if there's a Roman building, they would have had slabs on the floor, but people who were used to timber and beaten earth floors would have been used to timber and beaten earth floors, and that would have been perfect. Just level this out with slabs, and then just have withies or timber or something on top of it. What else?
Yeah.
What else you can actually see is this building. This building here. So if we can look, that's one building. But this building is actually built on another building, because that building there, that's a half. So
Yes.
that's an earlier building. So this is where an earlier building would have been, because if there would have been a building there, it would set light to the wall of this building.
So they built over the remains of some previous.
Yes. That's right.
So what was on top of all of this when it was discovered? How was it discovered? They're obviously digging or
Several meters of crap. Basically, the landscape has become flooded and alluvial, and it's all been and all that. And with each time there's a flood, there's a new layer on top, and then it dries out, and cattle graze and shit goes all over across it, and then another layer and another layer. So when these buildings were abandoned, the landscape silted up, and then grass, and then that silted up, and grass and grazing and so on. And then you've got about 3, 4, 5, 6 meters of build-up.
yeah.
And obviously, we forget about the fact that, you know, they've been building across this landscape for quite some time. So, you know, there's different phases of build as well.
Yes.
And there, look at that
Cool.
there. Now,
That's cool.
that is cool, but what we need to put some daub on that wonderful building.
Yes. Nice bit of thatch.
And you notice there's no windows in there. There's no windows because
No.
they didn't need them.
Well,
Well,
could have created a hole. What would they have?
Exactly. Yeah, I was
This
I
would
was
be
thinking.
shelter, isn't it?
You need to keep warm in the winter months and stuff. These people are used to very cold conditions. The height level of the doorway is still not
It's wrong.
what I want, but I would say that I was thinking the other day, you know, they could start building houses without windows. We've got the technology to do that. Basically,
Yeah.
you have a you have you have a computer screen in front here. You have a solid wall and a computer screen. You just tap the computer screen and you're seeing outside, but there's actually no window.
Yeah.
Which would make a building completely warm all the time.
It would, wouldn't it?
And it is natural. It is the same. It's not natural light, but it's the light outside. All you're doing is pressing it, and it's got.
Well, you could have any view you wanted, couldn't you?
Well, actually, you could have a huge screen on. You could have, in fact, every single wall you could have a screen on. Right, and you press a button, and you got the inside. You got the outside inside, but it's a solid wall.
Yeah. I do like having the proper window though to see the world.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
yeah. Well, you know,
I might not if I was like, say, down the South Antarctic or something.
Yeah. I would go with what I've just suggested in the South Antarctic. Yeah. Well, hang on a minute. You can't really get the South Antarctic because it is in the south. But you could get.
Oh.
If you went to the South Antarctic, you'd be on the pole.
Yes, that's what I meant. If I was down there, or even if I was up north, you know.
What in Scunthorpe or somewhere like that?
Arctic.
Bargum. Look at that there. Look at that reconstructed view. So what you've got.
That's the reconstructive view of what we were just looking at in Dublin.
Dublin, yes. But there's one thing about that, you see. I've seen another plan, and there's waterways in amongst these buildings, you see.
Ah.
So basically, I've actually seen I have seen a reconstruction where you've got sort of boats basically going to people's doorways.
Well, that'd be really cool, wouldn't it?
You know that J.R.R. Tolkien's Hobbit.
Yes.
You look at the sort of villages in it, and they're just like loads of waterways with houses on stilts.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Hang on, we've gone off a minute. Hang on, we've pressed the wrong doodah. So there's that, and obviously that there is where the head poncho lives.
Right.
On the right. Pete the butcher. That's where Pete the butcher would have been.
Yeah.
And there you go. What these guys are doing, you know, I was saying about the upright timbers to support the roof.
Yes.
They are putting the upright timbers in to support the roof.
Right.
That's exactly what they're doing. And the other thing is what you'd do is fire the end of the posts. You'd have a big bonfire, right? You'd chuck the ends of the post into the bonfire, let the ends of the post set alight. Suddenly, cut the flames out, and then ram them in the ground, and they're waterproofed.
Oh, okay. Clever.
Clever. Just think, if me and Michelle ever had an idea like this, you could come along and experiment with us.
Well, it'd be very snug, wouldn't it?
So, but obviously we would never be able to do anything like this because we don't have the money.
Well, you never know. One day.
Never know, it might happen one day. Exactly. Yeah. And there you go. That's gonna be the template for the roof.
Yeah.
So, oh God, I hope no Irish person. But this is a bit Irish, really, isn't it? Shouldn't they have done that first?
What's that?
The internal workings. I think they didn't do the internal.
I don't know, because you've got shelter. If it was windy or whatever, there's actually shelter, isn't it, from the walls there? If it was the wind is blowing or
and the wolves.
Yeah, and the wolves.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's a good thing. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, actually, that was it. We didn't get to the end of them putting the roof on the building, but obviously, you know, this is a bit of an overview. But I love talking about the Viking bit there. So the next thing we're going to do in the last bit, we've now got New Grange.
Well, yeah, that looks impressive, Yawn.
Yawn. Dion.
Iawn, iawn.
Iawn, iawn, iawn. Yeah, that is. Or Schlonderfoil.
New Grange.
Actually, the only Gaelic I know is Schlonderfoil, and also Didich Karl. There was this guy in Spain who was learning Gaelic, and he just used to try and talk to me in Gaelic, thinking Wales was in Ireland.
Oh,
I don't mind Wales being an island, right? But we're not even connected to it.
and it's a different language, is it?
Yeah, he thought Welsh was Gaelic.
I went to Austria. A lot of Irish go skiing, and the youngsters, were speaking Gaelic. They speak it at school, like we speak Welsh at school, or they speak Gaelic, which was great.
They're teaching them Gaelic in school.
Yeah, this one young boy was learning Gaelic.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing, as my friend
So
said.
where is New Grange then?
Amazing. Right, New Grange. Right, what we'll do. So we know where all this is, right? We've done teenage Duda. So New Grange. Not Grange Hill. I don't want that. New Grange.
Ah, I used to live Grange
I
Hill.
used to love Grange Hill and Tucker's Luck.
Yeah.
Good old Tucker.
Yes.
Right, there it is in Ireland. There it is there. Oh, right, I can't.
Oh no, I got
I know, shut up you. I'll just put it on now. New share.
So that's spirals and horseshoe. Right. Oh, it's just above Dublin.
That's just above Dublin. But
North of Dublin.
it's the place where the unicorns go. The unicorns? The
The
freaking...
leprechauns.
and the unicorns. We'll chuck a few of them in there. So, yeah. So what we're talking about is sort of around Wexford. I've mentioned the Roman stuff, the Roman burials. But
Right.
anyway, so that's down there, Wexford. There you go. I went to Wexford. It's near Waterford, you see, near Cork.
Oh yeah, of course it is.
No,
Yeah.
it's just down the road. Right, there you go. So there's New Grange and there's Dublin, you see. And if we got, I tell you what, right, as we got the technology, let's sort of zoom in on it. See if we can get a bit of an aerial view. Right. Hang on, going there.
County Meath.
I knew her. I knew Mrs. Meath. She had 2 teeth. There it is. Look at that. You can bloody see it. Look at the size of that.
Aye, look at that. Amazing.
It's amazing. No, you can't say that. That's Stav's word. And it's amazing.
Ah.
Oh, we love old Stav with his little ways.
Oh, his little Wheezy.
His little ways. Good old Stav. So that's New Grange, right? And I do believe they must be all picnic benches. Picnic. I can't say picnic. I can't say it. Picnic benches. That's right.
They? No way.
I don't bloody know. I don't know what they friggin' are. I think they might be actually big picnic benches.
So you can take your lunch
Ah,
and
you
go
can
and
take
look
your
at the
bloody
burial
lunch and you can
mound.
see it. And you can look out for freaking leprechauns everywhere. Gosh, never known a neat league yet. Don't know. He's all good. Oh God. Right. Anyway, so at New Grange, you got these wonderful carvings in front of you.
Yeah, look at that.
One was
Is
done
that a
by
pot or something, or is that the wall?
no, actually, that is actually inside the chamber. But they do believe that maybe some of the carvings were actually representative of the designs on pots.
Oh, okay. Well, you would if you learned to do that design, because that's quite complicated to do on a pot, isn't it? Well, it's quite complicated to do on there.
Exactly. So yeah, so that is actually in relief. That's actually raised, the one at the bottom, there. That's raised out. So they've had to carve little sort of chevrons in there, and sort of so that looks sticky outedy and sort of smoothed it off. So as we carry on a little bit more with New Grange, and where are we going to go? All right, that's
Oh,
all.
look at that.
That's outside on the way in.
That's incredible.
It is. The idea of the representation of the spiral is the same from here as it might be in Crete, as it might
Okay.
be anywhere else on the planet, as it might be in Aboriginal Australia. This sort of repeating spiral design.
Yeah. Carved into stone, is it?
Yes, spiral of life.
That would have taken a long time to do.
Oh yeah, definitely. the granites and the sandstones that they're actually carving these things into is just phenomenal.
So is
But
that a big pillar or what is it? What would
no,
it
these are actually laid outside on the way into the entrance. Well, we don't know if they're all from the same phases or if they've been moved around, but obviously, again, extremely impressive. So this would come up to your, this would sort of come up to your elbows
Yeah.
as you're sort of peering out. Well, actually, a bit sort of taller than that, but
It is impressive.
it is impressive. Do you think if Tom had that, he would paint it?
Oh, probably. Yes.
He,
Trying to stop him.
he likes, and there it is. So those big blocks are the ones outside the main entranceway, and you've got these sort of standing stones that would have gone around the outside as well. So one, you can see these standing stones around the outside.
Yeah.
So it
So
might.
has that recently been covered over, or
Right, yeah,
is that how?
yeah, they did. I've seen earlier photographs. They've done a lot of reconstruction there.
Yes, because you've suggested that perhaps Stonehenge was covered like that.
Well,
I think.
what we do think is that where the white wall was, and as it curves around into a sort of oblong, that there may have actually been standing stones all the way around there. So there's that thought. Yeah, I know it's been completely dismissed and nobody uses it anymore. But the idea that Stonehenge being maybe covered at one point, and when you see something like New Grange, which is slightly bigger than Stonehenge, if they can do it there, why can't they do it with Stonehenge?
Yes.
Just over time, all the 5,000 years that they've been well, actually they've been doing stuff at Stonehenge for over 6,000. But as they've been building the major stuff for the past 5,000 years, lots of stuff could have disappeared. And
Isn't there a call though for the Stonehenge stones to be moved back to Wales because they're Welsh?
Oh no, they can have it. This mate. Okay, if they came back to Wales, they wouldn't be maintained, and they'd all be nicked by people from Cadoxton or Penarth. Anyway, yes, I
Back to
was
New Grange.
gonna say something illuminating then, and you interrupted.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So anyway, it's like yeah, I was talking about. Oh yeah, up until about the 1700s, into the 1800s as well. They used to go down to the local blacksmith shop in Amesbury near Stonehenge, and used to hire a hammer and chisel.
Oh, and you could take a bit of the stone.
Oh, you would hammer, you chisel your name into it. Tom was you,
Ah,
and there you go. That's what they believe New Grange originally looked like. So therefore, a circle of uprights, Stonehenge. Well, we could sort of go in that direction, yeah.
yeah. Well, many stone circles, not just Stonehenge,
Exactly.
is it?
Exactly. Well, they do.
So,
Most
who put the lid on it then? The roof.
Basically, what you're talking about is that if you think about this, if you go back to the new, well, basically all that there, and then there's a passageway. There's a passageway going through the centre of it with a chamber, right? If you start to sort of build up earth and stones in you, that's what you're going to end at.
Yeah.
So you know. So, and there you see that that's an image from before it was reconstructed, and the difference is, you can't really see this hollow space above it very clearly, you know. So it has been extensively reconstructed and altered, and that's Michelle when she visited the Pixies.
Leprechauns.
And the leprechauns as well, and the unicorns. We'll chuck them in there as well.
Looks like Picnic at Hanging Rock, doesn't it?
What?
Haven't you ever seen Picnic at Hanging Rock?
No.
Oh, it's a film based around Ayers Rock.
Oh, right.
Uhuru. It's a good film.
Is that the father of the? No, that's not. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. So that's you can see that's that there. You know.
Yes.
So we think that there's a stone. There was originally a circle, and then they built this big sort of chamber thing, and then you've got a passageway leading into a little chamber at the end. So anyway, so cracking on again. So Newgrange, in County Meath. And so again, this is one of the big things that Ireland's known for, you know, the Newgrange.
Yeah.
These beautiful designs.
Oh, that's gorgeous, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Spirals.
It is. Spirals in the spirals. La 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 la. Harry Nilsson.
Ah.
All by myself. Don't wanna be. Oh, that was that Harry Nilsson. Well, he can have the credit for it. I used to like Tony Newley. Goes the weasel, half Japanese rice. Oh, that was it. That was the last image. So, are there any questions on that little bit of an Irish thingy today?
Well, that was a really great opening and insight and thoughts. So next time I go to Dublin, I can have a look at the archaeology and.
That was a really good bent. That was today.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of bent.
So hopefully things will start to open up again soon, and we'll be able to do these things.
Yes, and go to Ireland. By the way, I was off. I had my I had my invite to have the COVID jab today. I turned it down. I'm not going to have it done.
I haven't had mine.
What's that?
I haven't had mine. Tom's due to have his a week Friday.
I'm the only one on the planet who I know who's not going to have it.
Well, I don't think we should be forced to. And, you know, it's all this thing now about the COVID passport, isn't it? I mean, what's the world coming to?
Yeah, that's true. And no talking about putting little microchips in there. That's just being paranoid.
Yeah, and altering your DNA.
Altering your DNA. So, is there anything else that you would like to ask before we finish today?
No, I think we've covered everything. We chatted beforehand about other things.
Good. Good.
No, that was very interesting.
Excellent. On that note, I'm going to probably puddle off now. I've got to put the dinner on. I've got to do the washing. I've got to speak to...
All right, yes, I'm feeling a little hungry myself.
I've got to speak to this woman about the ghost stories, right? And so we'll obviously do another one next week, another odd one next week, as we do. Later on, I'm going to do my article for the Baron District, my regular column in the Baron District News.
Yes.
And I'm going to put the other video out about... I'm going to put my other video out, my whole series of images looking at the valleys. I got a series of 24. I got to put one out every single day for the next 3 weeks.
Oh, that sounds fun, though.
So yeah.
About the valleys.
Yeah, and finding frog spawn on top of moss.
Wow.
Which I've now got in a fish tank in the garden, and hopefully some of them will hatch.
It'll do well. Yes. Hopefully. I hope it was frog spawn on the top of moss.
What do you think it was?
Well, I don't know. Cuckoo spit. Could be. I don't know.
It was frigging frog spawn, you silly woman.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what comes of it, won't we?
Oh, we'll see it afterwards, yes. I don't know. I don't know at any time.
It'll either be a frog or it won't.
Right, okay then.
Oil.
On that note, if we've done
to an end.
Thanks for sorting out those fleeces.
Have my tea.
Yeah, thanks for sorting out those fleeces.
Ah, that's okay. My pleasure. Let me know if there's anything more that needs.
I will. I'll let you know, and obviously seeing Stav on the weekend.
Yes, I'll remind him. 1 p.m. Saturday.
And Michelle sent death today.
She what?
She sent death. Terry Beckett, she's got 3 death statues, and she sold one today.
Oh, well done. I saw them on her Facebook page. I love that story. I love death.
Yeah, I love death.
When he goes on holiday.
I think
tries to be a chef.
I think Death is a really nice bloke.
Yeah, it's cool. Really
and
cool.
Daughter. He's got a daughter as well, and a dog, Gaspod.
Oh, it's years. I'm gonna have to dig my copy of that out. Yeah. Mort, isn't it? It's called.
Yeah.
And Mort takes his place.
Yeah, he doesn't do a good job, does he?
Oh, he does his best under very trying circumstances.
Yeah.
Yes.
On that note.
Hoyle.
If there's nothing
farewell.
I'm going to say Hoyle, diolch yn fawr chi, and I'll speak to you soon.
All right, ta-ra, 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 ta-ra.
Diolch and thanks. Bye. Bye-bye. another mad session with my one-to-ones. Thank you very much. And don't forget to join. If you join, guys, odd videos like this are in the box. Join. It's £1.99 a month. You get extra videos, extra content. Join my channel. Don't just subscribe and do the bell. Join and you get extras. Go for it. Thank you very much. If you like this, you get loads of stuff. If you don't like it, then just subscribe and whatever. And always wear a dress when you listen to my presentations, and make sure you beware of the worm that turned. Cheers, guys.